Dear students, I hope you're all well and studying in your home. Last week in the chapter Soil, we discussed about the different uh, characteristics of soil and its profile. Today, we discuss about the soil types. As you know, weathering of rocks produces small particles of various materials. These include sand and clay. The relative amount of sand and clay depends upon the rock from which the particles were formed. That is the parent rock. Okay, the mixture of rock particles and humus is called the soil. So, this is the definition of soil. It is a mixture of rock particles and humus. Living organisms such as bacteria, plant roots, and earthworm are also important parts of any soil. The soil is classified on the basis of the proportion of particles of various sizes. If soil contains greater proportion of big particles, it is called sandy soil. If the proportion of fine particles is relatively higher, then it is called clayey soil. Okay, so and these are the two types of soil here, that when soil contains greater proportion of big particles is called sandy soil. When the proportion of fine particles is higher, it called clayey soil. Okay, if the amount of large and fine particles is about the same, then the soil is called loamy. Thus the soil can be classified as sandy, clayey, and loamy, three types. The size of particles in a soil has an influence on its properties. Sand particles are quite large. They cannot fit close together, so there are large spaces between them. These spaces are filled with air. We say that the second sand is we say that sand is well aerated. Water can drain quickly through the spaces between the sand particles. So sandy soil tend to be light, well aerated, and rather dry. Clay particles being much smaller, packed tightly together, leaving little space for air. Unlike sandy soil, water can be held in the tiny gaps between the particles of clay. So clay soil have less air, but they are heavy as they hold more water than sandy soil. The best topsoil for growing plants is loam. Loamy soil is a mixture of sand, clay, and other type of soil particles known as silt. Silt occurs as a deposit in river beds. The size of the silt particles is between those of sand and clay. The loamy soil also has humus in it. It has the right water holding capacity for the growth of plants. So Bujo wants to know that what kind of soil should be used for making earthen pots. Okay, earthen pots, matkas, and surais. So for this, collect sample of clay, loamy, and sandy soils. Take a first full of soil from one of the sample. Okay, एक मुट्ठी भर. Remove any pebbles, rock, or grass blades from it. Now add water drop by drop and knead the soil. Okay, in figure also given. Add just enough water so that a ball can be made from it. But all at the same time, it should not be sticky. Try to make a ball from this soil. On a flat surface, roll this ball into a cylinder. Try to make a ring from this cylinder. Repeat this activity with other samples also. Does the extent to which a soil can be saved indicate this type? Can you suggest which type of soil would be best for making pots? Okay, and statues like. So you have to do this activity. Okay, this type of activity. You different type of samples you have to make. Okay, so now we read about the properties of soil. We have listed some uses of soil. Let us perform some activities to find characteristics of soil. Percolation rate of water in soil. Pujo and Pehli marked two different squares of 50 into 50 centimeter each. One on the floor of their house and the other on, uh, you can say that, kacha road, okay, unpaved, which is not damar in that. They filled two bottles at the same size with water. They emptied the water from the bottles, one each at the same time, in the two squares. They observed that the water on the floor flowed down and was not absorbed. On the kacha road, on the other hand, the water was absorbed. Now let us perform an activity to understand this. Okay, so you have to do this activity. For this activity, divide yourself into three teams. Now the team A, B, and C. You will be finding out how fast the water passes down the soil. You will need a hollow cylinder or a pipe. Ensure that each team uses pipes of the same diameter. Some suggestions for the obtaining such a pipe are as follows. If possible, get a small tin can and cut off its bottom. Okay, if you want to do this activity, you have to uh, uh, do this activity in the supervision, okay, of your parents. If possible, then PVC pipe, approx diameter 5 centimeters, if available, cut it into 20 centimeter long pieces and use them. At the place where you collect the soil, okay, place the pipe about 2 centimeter deep in the ground. Pour 200 ml water in the pipe slowly. For measuring 200 ml water, you can use any empty 200 ml bottle. Note the time when you start pouring water when all the water has percolated. So measuring rate of percolation. Okay, percolation means, you can say that, when water goes inside the soil. Okay, or running phase of water. This type of activity you have to do. Then, leaving the pipe empty, note the time again. Be careful not to let the water spill over or run down on the outside the pipe while pouring. Calculate the rate of percolation by using the following formula. Percolation rate, milliliter per minute, is equal to the amount of water upon percolation time. Okay, for example, suppose that for a certain sample it took 20 minutes for 200 ml to percolate, so its rate of percolation is 10 ml per minute. Calculate the rate of percolation in your soil sample. Compare your findings with other and arrange the soil sample in the increasing order of the rate of percolation. Now we read about the moisture in soil. Have you ever passed through a farmland during a hot summer day? Perhaps you noticed that the air above the land is simmering. Why it is so? Try out this activity and find your answer. Take a boiling tube, put 2 spoonfuls of a soil sample in it. Heat it on a flame as given in figure and observe it. Let us find out what happens upon heating. Do you see water drops anywhere? If yes, where did you find them? On heating, water in the soil evaporates, moves up, and condenses the cooler inner walls of the upper part of the boiling tube. On a hot summer day, the vapor coming out of the soil reflect the sunlight and the air above the soil seems to simmer. If you see, this type of activity you have to do. Okay, after heating the soil, taking it out of the tube, compare it with the soil which has not been heated. Note the difference between two. Okay, there is some difference between. You have to just take soil sample, it is, and it boils it. Okay, and you find the water drops here outside. So till now we read about the soil types, three types of soil. Okay, and percolation rate of water in soil. Next we read about the moisture in soil. Okay, uh, how can you be imagine or understand the moisture in soil? Okay, by doing the removing moisture from the soil. Okay, and you can notate the amount, more amount will be absorbed by some different type of soil. Okay, so these are the all activity based questions. In next class we will read about the absorption of water by soil. Okay, we read about it and some other soil and crops. Okay, which type of soil is better for growing which type of crop. So you also try to read if you have books. Okay, if you find any confusion, you can ask to me anytime. Thank you.